Hi there. This is Life Prepper. One of the groups I'm in, this gentleman, he says, I've not heard anybody talk about children in an shtf situation and uh, waiting for someone to post it and talk about it. I tend to talk about a lot of different subjects. And some of the subjects, I gotta upset people sometimes because I talk about things that really need to be talked about. Does it make me real popular? Not necessarily. Do I get a whole lot of hits all the time? Not necessarily. I get a lot of hits on Google and everything, so I do get people that do check into it, and I do sometimes get some rather mean remarks. But aside from that, SHTF involving children worldwide. How is children going to survive and make it? There's a lot of different scenarios here to look at when it comes to children. If it's a real small child, I'm talking about a baby, and the parents are killed or whatever, and there's no one to come along and save that child is not going to make it. Just not. It's going to be harder on children of smaller age to survive in an SHTF event without some adult coming along and saving them. Now, some may be able to scavenge and learn to survive and continue to grow from that. But the sad truth is, many of the smaller children, it will be an ongoing battle for them. And if they survive, it's a very lucky situation in surviving. And that's the sad truth. You have seen stories in the past where they have found children who grew up with wolves. When wolves have found small children, uh, where the whole camp or whatever was slaughtered or whatever the reason is, and they had taken this child in and raised it as one of their own. And you've heard of incidents like it has happened. And that could very well happen in an SHTF situation. Animals could take that child in and take care of that child as one of their own by bringing it food and water and supplies and stuff. And that child will make it and will survive, but that child will become very animal-like characteristics because it's being raised up around animals. But as a child, older child, in an SHTF event, will learn to survive in ways that people who came from beforehand, before where they got very pampered and spoiled and used to the way things was or whatever, the survival instinct is going to develop in these children. These children are going to bounce back a whole lot quicker than an older person would, or another person who is used to living the other way. They're going to bounce back quicker. But also, many of them are going to become very ruthless in survival. They're going to have to. They are going to have to. You think about a child that's 7 or 8 years old or whatever in an SHTF situation who's lost their parents, and they're going to have to learn how to survive to make it. So children of that age is whatever education they receive would be at the minimum, unless unless there's some older children there who knows how to read and stuff they can teach to other children. You may end up seeing groups of just children surviving together. Now, on the other hand, though, the sad thing about it in an SHTF situation, many people will not even try to save a child. I mean, to them, the child will slow them down, become a burden, and they will leave that child behind. And that's the sad truth about it. I mean, they're not even going to share if they had a piece of bread in their hand, a loaf of bread, they would not even give that child that a couple slices of bread to survive on. Now, that's the sad truth in it. But in an SHTF situation, the children that would grow up in that type of environment, in that type of world, will be able to adapt and to develop skills far easier and become stronger and bounce back quicker than someone who come from before the shtf worldwide event happens. But also too, children can be turned into slaves, just as it's gone on since the beginning of the time. The young girls can be turned into a breeding stock when they become old enough for breeding. The strong young males can be turned into breeding stock as well, or to work the fields, or they can use them for the purpose of games or whatever. So it's not going to be easy for children in an shtf event if they are lucky enough and they have adults who can come along and help them to survive and take care of them and guide them maybe along the way. They're going to stand a better chance. But many of the children are not going to survive without that help. Many of them are going to become very like an animal in many ways. They will learn how to survive in that technique. The younger ones, especially, whatever language they was taught, is going to be could become very limited. They most likely will end up developing their own vocabulary. They can become very. They will become. Many of them will become very aggressive, very dangerous, and very skilled at what they're doing because they've had to learn how to survive in a situation. But not saying that there won't be those out there who will take the young females and put them into their camp for the purpose of using them as breeding stock later on, taking the young boys same way and training them to become soldiers or whatever it is. Not saying it isn't possible. It could very well happen in that situation. But unfortunately for many of the very small children, unless they have parents or people who can take them in and take care of them, many of them are not going to survive in that situation. So, SHTF for children is an uphill battle, just like it is for the adults. There's many disadvantages and many advantages. The main advantage for the children is because they would grow up in that type of society. They will learn skills and develop skills that they will then pass on to the next generation of children that is born. So it's a hang if you do and a hang if you don't. The thing is a lot of the children won't make it, but the ones that does make it, that don't end up into slavery or end up in situations in that way, and they end up in a good group of people or a group of children manages to band together to survive, they are going to be very strong and independent and survivable, and they will be able to actually teach other people how to survive. So we are going to need that type of strength from the children, the new generation of it, basically, that born into that new world, in order to survive, because they are going to have to teach their children how to survive in that. So SHTF for children, many of the children won't make it, just like many adults won't make it. You hear them talking, oh, shoot, it ain't never going to happen. Shoot, no. I tell you, I told you I like to go sit at restaurants and listen to people talk, and I sit off to myself a lot of times. I'll listen to people talking smack and talking about this and that, and they're talking about the latest football game, or they're talking about whatever. They're talking about some idiot doing this or some idiot doing that. But you don't ever hear them talking about, I went to the store and I stocked up on some things to kind of get me through. You just don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. You don't know. I'm gonna go. I got bought some extra beans the other day on hand. I've got me some noodles on hand. It ain't fancy eating, but it's better than nothing. You don't hear them talking about stuff like that or thinking about, well, I put up some extra water today just in case. You don't hear them talk about that. Well, you hear them talk about, well, and they're sitting there at a fast food restaurant or whatever, eating their little burgers or whatever, and they're just going on about everything else. Everybody else. They're worried about the latest star cheating on someone when they're not even worrying about, well, what if tomorrow all the power and everything's gone? How am I going to survive? You don't hear them talking about any of that stuff. You hear them talking about all that stuff. So yeah, there's going to be a lot of adults out there that's not going to make it for health reasons or just pure being stupid or age or whatever the reason it is. But there's not a lot of children not going to make it either because of their age. And there's going to be adults that's going to walk off and leave their children behind to die and so worry about themselves instead of the children. But the children that does make it, they're going to be strong and independent children. They're going to be survivors, and they are going to be the new generation after shtf happens worldwide. They are going to be the leaders, the ancestors of the new generation of builders of people. So this is Live Prepper here. I want you to be safe, be happy. Bless you all.